shut up, you listen to my monkey mouth. There's a companion when you got pun on the Kanoa route. Hopped in a portal and got in a fight, Elias knocked him out. Bow, Naruto fighting style. Bow, UFC he tapped out. Bow, we win, we get crowned. Monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth.
Alrighty everybody, thank you for tuning in to this, the 38th iteration of the Konoha Companion. This is Joshua, as always, and I'm your Konoha Companion. And on this episode, we're going to be covering episode 37 of Naruto, entitled Surviving the Cut, the Rookie Nine Together Again. And before we dive too far off into this episode, I want to go over what happened on the previous episode really briefly, so that we can all be on the same page. Okay. So, previously on, the gang stopped because Sakura had to take a knee from exhaustion, right? Remember that they were caught in the Rain Ninja's genjutsu, walking in circles repeatedly. The Rain Ninja team casting the genjutsu makes a whole bunch of clones emerge from the trees in the forest floor. These turn out to not actually be clones, rather just an elaborate genjutsu. Naruto attacks a clone and knocks a hole in it, but it stays up, and another clone emerges out of the hole that Naruto had knocked in it. Sasuke locks his Sharingan on the situation as the clones go to attack. Sasuke throws shurikens, stopping the attack from hitting Naruto, though effectively saving the day. The clone then attacks Sasuke, who suddenly can't move because his curse mark begins to act up yet again. Sakura comes to his aid, and the curse mark seems to stop bothering Sasuke whenever Sakura comes to hug him. And so this is she's batting 1,000 on this, right? Curse mark acts up, Sakura comes along and helps it, and all of a sudden things are, they're moving in the right direction immediately, every time. Kabuto dives in to save Sasuke, and he gets hit in the shoulder with a kunai in the process. Sasuke tells the team that it's a genjutsu, as he'd seen it with his Sharingan. The team realizes that the real ninja are throwing kunai from the woods to make it seem like the genjutsu clones are the ones that are throwing the kunai. But really, these guys are just throwing their kunai from the wood to make it appear as though their kunais are the ones that are being thrown by the illusion clones. So it's a pretty elaborate little ruse that these Rain Ninja guys have worked out. This goes on for a while until Naruto loses his patience and casts his Shadow Clone Jutsu. It's later revealed that Naruto did a transformation and took the place of his teammates so that they could flank the Rain Ninja later on. The Naruto clones beat up on Rain Ninja clones and the gang joins in, right? But the gang is just Naruto clones transformed to look like the gang. The fight goes on until morning when the gang is completely exhausted. Again, it's all just Naruto. The Rain Ninja move in for the kill, dispersing the genjutsu and revealing themselves, cornering Naruto and the gang of transformed clones. The team then reveals themselves behind the Rain Ninja, and Naruto reveals the team members that they have cornered to be just transformed clones. Big reveal, ninja shit, know what I'm talking about. Naruto then decks the Rain Ninja with one big kick. Sasuke recognizes Naruto internally. Kabuto recognizes Naruto internally. The Rain Ninja get back up and cast a fog clone jutsu, which creates a bunch of ethereal clones. We're talking 10, 11 clones of each of these guys. So we're talking, 10 to 40 or 30 to 40 clones that these guys have cast between the three of them. Naruto, of course, Wrecking Ball just charges in, and Sasuke yet again gets frozen by his curse mark when he tries to use his Sharingan, and he thinks internally that maybe it's something to be associated with him using too much chakra, right? So at this point, Sasuke's best guess is that Using up too much chakra is the thing that's causing his curse mark to activate in this negative way. Naruto frantically punches through clones to effectively no avail, and Sasuke, just through force of will, forces himself to use his Sharingan once again to look at the battlefield and help his teammates. This causes his curse mark to freak out and it knocks him to the ground. Sakura comes to his aid and realizes what's going on and pleads for him to stop. Naruto turns to see what's happening and gets attacked while distracted, and Kabuto ultimately leaps in and saves the day again, taking a kunai to the knee this time. Sasuke warns that all the clones are fake, when suddenly the real ninja come out of the ground using some type of earth-style jutsu to attack while you're distracted with the clones. The Rain Ninjas surround Kabuto, who, in like a moment of panic, glares at them. His eyes turn red, which causes all the Rain Ninja to kind of hesitate for a second. And in this moment, Naruto comes in with like a big spinning wheel kick that sends them all to the ground, knocks them out, disperses their jutsu, effectively wins the fight. Naruto finds the Heaven Scroll that his team needs in the belongings of the Rain Ninja. Kabuto asks Sasuke about the curse mark, and Sasuke deflects, saying that there's basically, it's nothing, and then thinks internally that there's something about Kabuto that he doesn't quite like, which, shout out Sasuke, having a strong intuitive sense. Kabuto, as it's revealed here in just a second, is actually a spy working for Orochimaru. So, yeah, there's a good reason for him to think there's something up. They make their way to the tower, and Kabuto links up with his teammates. They go their separate ways into the tower. Kabuto is realized to be a spy for the Hidden Sound, working for Orochimaru for the sake of gathering info on Sasuke, as I previously stated. The squadlings find themselves in a big empty room with little more than a poster with a cryptic message missing a word. They decide the proper course of action is to open and read both scrolls simultaneously, and as they go to do this, the episode ends. And so at this point, we're now back to where we are on this episode. And it does take us a little ways back to where Sakura is reading the riddle with the missing word. And after thinking on it, she concludes that they're supposed to open and read both the Heaven and Earth scrolls simultaneously. Naruto and Sakura anxiously open the scrolls at the same time. The scroll starts to let out smoke or gas, and in this moment Sasuke realizes that it's a summoning jutsu and tells Naruto and Sakura to get rid of the scrolls, which they oblige. They throw them away, just huck them, right? And the scrolls explode into plumes of smoke, and the smoke clears, and it's revealed that the scrolls have summoned a Ruka Sensei. I love me some Iruka Sensei, that's my dude. Iruka smiles and says, "Hey, long time no see, huh?" And he flashes a big smile. The title slide comes in and Naruto reads, "Surviving the cut, the Rookie Nine together again." Iruka then congratulates the squadlings on passing the second phase of the tuning exam. Gang, they actually effectively passed the second phase of the tuning exam. I know that we were maybe worried that them opening the scrolls would still somehow cause them a trip up here at the last minute, but as it turns out, Sakura reasoned through it correctly. They did the right thing, and they did it just in time, right? Iruka even remarks on, y'all did it just in time. And so they've passed. They passed the second phase of the tuning exam. It's a good time. Cheers. Cheers for the squadlings. Squad 7. Gang. Woo. Iruka congratulates him on passing the second phase of the tuning exam, and he goes on to say, "I'd love to treat you to some Ichiraku ramen, but..." And before he's able to finish his statement, Naruto goes absolutely fucking berserk over the prospect of noodles. He says he's going to literally eat all the noodles on the planet. Homie's just bouncing off the walls, super pumped that he just passed the second phase of the tuning exam. He's got Iruka there, and he's about to get noodles. Things are 10 out of 10 for Naruto right now. As I say here, before Iruka can finish, Naruto explodes with enthusiasm, leaping and hugging Iruka, running around the room yelling about how much he wants that ramen. While this is happening, Sakura and Sasuke both take a seat on the ground, exhausted and relieved. Right, they can finally take a breath. They really did it. Iruka calls Naruto hyperactive as ever, and Sasuke asks Iruka what would have happened if they'd opened the scrolls in the forest. Iruka compliments Sasuke's wit and explains that part of the exam was to test how well you could see a difficult mission all the way through. He then continues that they were ordered to knock out whoever opened the scrolls. At this point, it flashes us back to the two Leaf Ninja who'd opened their scroll back right whenever Kabuto stopped the squadlings from opening their scroll. There were some other Leaf Ninja that it showed us at the same time who did open their scroll and who ultimately got knocked out. Their teammate came back and was like, "What's going on?" And so this is what happened, right? Them two opened the scroll, their sensei popped out and knocked them two out and left them there for their teammate to find. Sasuke pokes at Naruto and Sakura about how lucky they are that they didn't open it, which clearly embarrasses them in front of their old sensei. This is appropriate, right? Like, y'all almost fucked us up real bad. Sakura asks what the point of the riddle on the wall is, and Naruto mocks her for it, basically saying it doesn't matter, we're past it. But as Naruto mocks her, Iruka chimes in that he's actually there to explain its significance and that they are actually instructions recorded by Lord Hokage as principles that Chunin should follow. He continues to explain that heaven represents your mind and earth represents your body. If qualities of heaven are what you desire, acquire wisdom to take your mind higher. Looking at Naruto here. In other words, if your weakness lies in your intellect, then you have to work doubly hard to learn all the information and skills you'll need to prepare for your missions. Looking at Sakura here. If earthly qualities are what you lack, train your body, prepare to attack. So if your weakness lies in your physical strength, then you have to make sure that you work on your physical conditioning every single day so that it improves all the time. When heaven and earth are open together, the perilous path becomes righteous forever. Meaning if your mind and body are working together as one, then even a very dangerous mission can be an easy one. Sakura asks about the missing part of the poem, and Iruka informs them that that's for them to fill in on their own. Right, so to round out the poem, if you are lacking in intellect, if you're a dum-dum, you need to hit the books twice as hard. Make sure that you have the critical bits of information committed to memory, and that's going to take extra work for particular individuals. Some people are lacking in physical strength. They pick up on everything that's happening the first time they hear it, but they can't actually do the physical motions, and they have to work twice as hard every day so that they can get there. And if you have both these things going for you, you're gonna kick its ass. So you have Naruto, who's a dum-dum but is super strong. You got Sakura, who's super smart but is maybe lacking in strength, and you got Sasuke, who's got them both working. So it's fun how they have it, these three. It's neat that the missing part of the riddle is for them to fill in on their own, right? Whatever's important to them is what goes there. So that's neat. Iruka continues to tell the squadlings that they did magnificently on this phase of the exam, and that Chunin are leaders and guides who have to be aware of the strengths and weaknesses of those serving under them, and that they need to know basically what skills the people under them need to train in order for them to be successful moving forward. Iruka informs them that that's all he was supposed to tell them, and Naruto, he tells him that Naruto and Sakura's confident that he's got it. Iruka then adds on a personal note for them not to push it too far in the next exam, especially Naruto. Naruto interrupts Iruka and tells him, "The moment I received this headband, I stopped being a student, so you don't have to worry about me anymore. I'm a ninja type shit. I have a headband to prove it, bro. Don't coddle me." He goes on to flex his headband and says that this headband means I'm a full-fledged ninja. I've passed the first 2 phases of the Chunin exam, and I'll pass the 3rd phase, just you watch. Iruka admits Naruto is right and apologizes while having a flashback to when he was protesting to be the one to deliver the message to the squadlings, which Anko grants him, but even Anko kind of jabs Iruka, saying that she'd expect him to have a little bit more confidence in them. It then flashes us to the scene whenever Iruka and Kakashi were going back and forth, and Kakashi's telling him that the squadlings aren't his anymore. He's saying to Iruka, they're not yours anymore, they're mine, right? They're not Iruka's students anymore, they're Kakashi's students, as told by Kakashi. Suddenly we're back in the here and now, and Naruto's laughing, being silly as usual. Iruka has an internal revelation, realizing at this point that Kakashi may very well know the squadlings' strengths and weaknesses better than himself, right? Which is a fair thing for you to conclude if you're thinking coherently, right? He's been on missions with them, like real missions, seen them put through the real ringer, right? You just had him in a classroom. So, respect Kakashi, give him his space, let him do what he's going to do. He's going to get him through it. It then takes us to a room within the tower where Lord Third and Anko are meeting alongside 2 sentinels. And these 2 sentinels have popped up a lot, and they haven't gotten their names called out or anything, and I'm tired of just referring to them as the sentinels, so I'm going to give them their names, and I'll refer to them as their names moving forward. It's Katetsu Hagane, and he's the guy with the face wrap, and Izumo Kamazuki, the off-brand Sasuke. We see these guys a lot, and I wanted to make sure that they got their names called out. They deserve a shout out. Like they're significant in the show. It then takes us to a room within the tower, where these 2 meet up, and I give them their shout out. Anko's curse mark is acting up kind of moderately, right? You could tell she's in pain, but it isn't glowing like Sasuke's has been. Lord Third, Hiruzen Saratobi, asks her how her curse mark is doing, and she says it's much better now thanks to him, right? So clearly Lord Third has some way of alleviating the troubles that the curse marks provide. Katetsu says, this Orochimaru, he's one of the 3 Sannin, the legendary 3 ninja, isn't he? He's supposed to be so incredibly powerful, even the Anbu Black Ops unit couldn't bring him down, and I've heard a rumor that he's dead, but I guess that wasn't true. And so this is the first time that we've heard any mention of the legendary Sannin. Okay? He's one of 3, evidently, at this point. And I think it's safe to assume that the other 2 ninja are as powerful as him, right? And he's a one-off guy who can, literally threaten the entire village, and is, doing some, big-time spy guy shit, a tough opponent, to say the least. And so it's going to be interesting to see if we get introduced to the other Sannin. It's going to be interesting to see what's going on with the legendary 3 Sannin, especially considering that we've already met one of them, and he's kind of a nasty guy. Izumo questions aloud, why'd he come here? And Anko flashes back to her interaction with Orochimaru and nuts up to tell Lord Third the truth in spite of Orochimaru's threats, but before she can even say it, Hiruzen asks, he's here after Sasuke, right? Which obviously shocks Anko. She doesn't realize how plugged in he is. A sentinel then talks to the room through the TV, right? They have screens in the room, and apparently they have audio out, and one of them is literally a sentinel in a remote place speaking to them in the room, saying that 21 ninja finish the exam, and goes on to explain that the 3rd exam will require a preliminary round per the rules, and this is the first time in 5 years they've had to do something like this. So I wonder why they need to have a preliminary round. I wonder if it might just be because there's so many students. I don't know yet. We're going to see. Lord Third then tells Anko that they're going to proceed with the exams as planned, and they want to keep an eye on his movements, presumably Sasuke, and Anko agrees. And so we're going to see what type of judgment, we see what type of judgment Hiruzen has, but we're going to see what type of repercussions his actions and decisions have, right? Right now it's known that there's this big bad Orochimaru, one of the legendary three Sannin, who an entire unit of the Yonbu Black Ops can't even take down, is actively running amok during the tuning exams. And instead of sounding the alarm and making everybody leave, he's going to keep running the tuning exams where people are supposed to be gathering and watching these exams, right? So, like, we're going to see how it pans out for Hiruzen here. The passing Chunin candidates, all their Genin and their senseis, the Hokage, several sentinels, Anko, and the rest of the proctors gather in a coliseum with a giant statue holding the sheep hand sign. Anko congratulates the ninjas on passing the second phase of the Chunin exams and thinks to herself that there were 78 who took the test and only 21 made it, and even that's a lot per her measure. She would have expected even fewer. The passing teams include the Sand siblings, right? Gaara, Temari, and Kankuro. Kabuto's sneaky ass team, right? Kabuto's a spy for Orochimaru and his two, like, obviously bad guy teammates. The Squadlings, Team 7, Ino Shikacho, and Team 8 and Team Guy. Ino Shikacho has a bunch of charm. Choji's complaining about how hungry he is. Shikamaru complains about how big a drag it is that so many made it. Now getting further is going to be that much more work, and Ino's fawning over Sasuke, right? So, like, they just don't ever stop being silly. They're always this way. Guy Sensei pokes fun at Kakashi, saying it sucks for him because Team Guy is still around and the next round is all about skill, where his team has Kakashi's team outgunned, meaning that they doomed. Kakashi goes, "Huh? Did you say something?" Which immediately melts down Guy Sensei. Dude literally had to turn away and clench his fist and gets like a fucking Super Saiyan glow because he hates it when Kakashi acts all cool and has to even admit to himself that Kakashi won that round of shit talk. Tenten and Rock Lee see this transpiring, and Tenten realizes that Kakashi is Guy Sensei's rival and admits that if they're going off looks alone, she would give it to Kakashi. Lee's of course infatuated with Guy and vows to make him proud someday with fire in his eyes. He then flashes back to when he stepped in to save the day for Sakura against Team Dosu, and him inevitably getting his ass kicked and him having to see Sakura cry. He then vows that he never wants to see tears fall down the face of someone he cares for ever again, and that's why he'll never lose again, right? So Rock Lee does not want to see his loved ones in pain, and he's going to fucking win to prevent any pain for his loved ones. Neji looks around and basically concludes that all the best that you'd expect to have made it here are the ones who made it, but Sasuke is still sticking out to him. Like, he's clearly got his eye on Sasuke. Zaku, with his arm still wrapped up and broken from where Sasuke broke it, looks at Sasuke and vows to himself to get Sasuke back no matter the cost. It gives us a look at all the sensei up close, and the sensei for Team Dosu is clearly Orochimaru in a different body or face, and he gives a look to Kabuto, his little spy, which makes Kabuto nervous, right? Like, Kabuto's being looked at by his beneficiary in public, and it's like, what if someone sees you seeing me? Tamari looks around and can't believe that only 7 teams made it. Remember, she breezed through it riding the Gaara train, so she's like, that was easy. She didn't realize exactly how hard this shit is for everybody else. Their sensei, who we haven't been, like, formally introduced to yet, but his name is Baki. He's got, like, the red paint on his face. Looks on and basically thinks to himself that there isn't a scratch on Gaara, and that was his expectation. Kurenai notices Akamaru acting strange, and Kurenai notices Akamaru's acting strange, and Kiba attributes that weird behavior of Akamaru to the presence of the Sand siblings, or at least to Gaara, right? Hinata is loving that Naruto made it, right? Hinata's always fawning over Naruto, so the fact that he gets to go and be a tuning with her is just tops, right? Naruto says to Hinata how happy he is and lists off a bunch of people and is basically happy that nobody got left out this time. But you know who did get left out? Who's there but didn't even get their face really shown? Shino. Bologna Factory. What's up with that? Shino don't get even like one line. You can't be like, my bugs are happy to be here. Like nothing. Y'all just gonna let Shino be an afterthought like that, huh? I see you. I see what's up. I see how this is going. My bone to pick with the writers for not giving Shino the love he deserves aside. Hiruzen even thinks to himself how remarkable it is how many teams made it, and furthermore how many of them are rookies, and that them all making it makes their senseis fighting for them to be a part of the tuning exam so hard, makes it make more sense in hindsight, right? Like these guys were clearly able, so it makes sense that their senseis were fighting so hard for them to be able to do it. They're here now, right? So point proven. Anko then hands the floor over to the Hokage, who explains the true purpose of the exams is to raise the ability levels of the shinobi and to increase friendship between allied nations, but more importantly are meant to represent battle between allied nations. He goes on to explain that before nations were allied, they'd send their strongest off to fight one another instead of armies, and that's how the tuning selection process started, right? So in the past, instead of sending whole armies, they would send their strongest, right? The nations would go to the hidden villages, and the hidden villages would send their strongest, their tuning, to go and fight. Or really, the ones who made it back would be tuning, right? But the bottom line is there's like an old, archaic, militaristic system that this was birthed from. The exams are not only a place where chosen shinobi worthy of becoming chunin, but it's a place where shinobi can carry the pride of their nation and fight against other shinobi for their very lives. He goes on to explain that leaders and people of prominence are invited as guests so they can see who they want to potentially hire. It's basically a big marketing ploy negotiating chip, right? We're the Hidden Leaf. We had 10 times as many ninjas, so we're going to get 10 times as much work, and we have 10 times as much negotiating power. Makes sense? Makes sense. When Kiba asks why they need to risk their lives, Hiruzen responds, "The country's strength is the village's strength. The village's strength is the shinobi's strength. And the true strength of the shinobi is only achieved when it's pushed to its limits, such as in a life and death battle." Right? So basically, you're going to go in there and fucking fight because we need to see how strong you are, and you ain't going to really unlock your full potential unless your back's really against the cage. Tintin asks why he was talking about friendship earlier, if they're going to be fighting to the death, and Lord Third explains it's a custom where balance is preserved by fighting and dying, and in the world of the shinobi, that is friendship. Which is a heck of a concept, let me tell you. The third exam is a fight for life with the pride of the village and your own dreams at stake. Naruto smugly smiles and says that basically convinced him. Gaara ain't got time for this and just wants to know the details of the exam. Gaara literally ain't got time for this shit. He set the world record for the fucking tuning exam. So, yeah, he just wants to get on with it. Hiruzen starts to get on with it when he coughs, and suddenly the proctor of the third exam, Hayate Gecko, he's got a bandana, brown hair, and with some sticking down from his headband, like between his eyes. He's got a real bad cough, leaps in from out of nowhere, and basically asks the Hokage for permission to take it from there, which the Hokage grants. He then turns to the Genin and says there's something he wants all of them to do before the third exam starts, but his cough is so pronounced and so distracting that that's all anyone can really focus on or remember. He then smiles at them all and the episode ends. So that's a heck of an episode. There was a lot of standing around. There wasn't. It didn't really go real far, but they did pass the second phase of the tuning exam, and we are about to kick off the third phase of the tuning exam. There's some preliminary stuff going on that's kind of unique to this year. But my final thoughts on the matter is I wonder if the same riddle hung in every room, or if like Sand Ninja got a special program from the Kazekage and etc., right? Or I wonder if like every room, because you know they assigned these Genin to these rooms, so they had to walk in and it was like an assigned room, so they could have control over what was in the room. And so I'm curious if, because I mean, it's at some point it's like industry secrets, right? And like, do you really want to give like your rules to being good tuning away to every other nation that could be competing against you financially? Maybe not. And so I don't know. They haven't necessarily shown that, but you would think that they would maybe not be putting the empowering riddle up for everybody, right? It would be something that's like it's meant to be revelatory for the ninja of the Hidden Leaf Village from the Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village, you know. But who knows, right? That's just like an idea that popped into my head, and I've never really gotten it out. Where was Iruka before he was summoned? Did he know he was about to be summoned? What if he was taking a shit? How do these summons work? Like, he was just, like, standing there. What if he was sitting on the couch? Would it have, like, plopped him on his ass? I have so many fucking questions about how the summons work, but we'll just digress into infinity. Iruka wants to protect the squadlings, but he's realizing slowly that he might not, that they might not need him to anymore. They're growing up, and it's probably best to like legitimately entrust them to Kakashi at this point. He probably knows their strengths and weaknesses better, considering the like level of journeys that he's been on with them at this point. Good on Anko for nutting up to tell the third Hokage about the circumstance surrounding Orochimaru in spite of the threats that he made, right? It takes some backbone to stand up against someone strong who's making threats against you, right? And to remain silent. Don't ever remain silent. Speak up. Because there are plenty of Lord Thirds out there in the world who are down to help and who are better equipped to help than you could have ever imagined. I'm curious how Lord Third knew that Orochimaru was after Sasuke, right? I mean, they have cameras and stuff. Like, that was one thing that's kind of been on my mind throughout, is that they have cameras on all this stuff, right? Like, they've been seeing all this stuff through cameras. Why didn't they see what was going on with Orochimaru? Or maybe they did, and Hiruzen was watching, and that's why he knows. I don't know. They literally haven't shown us yet. I'm just postulating, but seriously, man, like he knew, and how does he know? I hope Lord Third knows what he's doing, continuing to gather people around for the tuning exams in spite of what Orochimaru said his potential intentions are. Like, I'm going to destroy the leaf. Alright, cool. Let's call in prominent people from all over the world so that they can get destroyed with the leaf. But listen, that's the Hokage, bro. That's like, if you think that Orochimaru's strong, Hiruzen's motherfucking strong. He's the Hokage. You know what I'm saying? So I'm certain he's just like, we'll let it ride, and like if something pops up, I'll handle it type shit. Who knows? I wonder what crop of ninja 5 years ago forced them to do a preliminary round in the third round of the tuning exams before, right? Like, evidently they don't do a preliminary round in the third round of the tuning exams every year, or every second year, however long. I think it's twice a year they do tuning exams. So either way, that means there's been 10 rounds of tuning exams since the last time they had to do this. And so, obviously, our group of kids is talented, and I would also be curious to see what the ninjas from 5 years ago look like now. What they had going on then and what they're doing now. Only 21 out of 78 Genin passed the second phase of the tuning exam. That's 7 teams out of 21. Wait, how many? 78 divided by 3 be 20. 28. Is that right? 28 times 3? Oh, I gotta figure this out now. This is tripping me out. 26. There we go. Damn. I've been drinking. It's been a long night. Sorry, my mental math is not on point right now. But so, 7 out of 26 teams made it. I love the shit talk between Guy and Kakashi, right? Like, Guy is like, yeah, man, my team's gonna kick your team's ass. You better watch out. And Kakashi's like, motherfucker, what? What are you even saying to me? Is this supposed to be important? You can tell these two like have some history, man. It's gonna be fun to see what comes of it. And Hiruzen basically spills the beans, saying that the exams are really to show off strength of nation. It's basically a big marketing pitch for each village to the movers and shakers of the world. Nations that do the best in the tuning exams get the most work. And the tuning exams are basically meant to recreate battles of old when nations would send their strongest off to fight to settle things, right? The Hokage said fighting and dying for the sake of the attainment or preservation of balance is friendship in the shinobi world. That's a heck of a heavy concept. You need to remember that. That's like, remember that. The Hokage said that fighting and dying for the sake of the attainment or preservation of balance is friendship in the shinobi world. You heard it here. What the fuck is wrong with this proctor of the third exam, Hayate Gecko? Dude sounds like death. Is he for real with the coughing? Is this like some type of fucking weird genjutsu he's putting everybody under? Like, what the fuck is up with these coughs? I guess we're going to find out. I wonder what the third exam is going to entail, right? We're finna find out. And crazy that Orochimaru is literally hiding in plain sight. I wonder what's up homie's sleeve. But we could talk about this for literal days, guys. But with that, I'm going to put a bow on it. I appreciate y'all so much for tuning in. This is Joshua. I'm your Konoha companion. As always, give us a follow on all the social media platforms. Participate in the comments on social media. Let's all be friendly and have fun, man. I love everybody. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. You guys are the best. I'll see you guys around. This is Joshua, your Konoha companion. Peace.
Monkey mouth. Monkey mouth. Monkey mouth. Monkey mouth.